Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's still your baby girl, Gloria, and today I've got someone very special. I'm going to be leaving him. I feel like I'm always saying someone very special when I bring someone, but that's the truth. This person is so knowledgeable. Leave him to introduce himself to us. He's got so many things to offer. Today, we're going to be talking about UK tax system, tax code, why you're broke, even after working 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jobs. He's going to be helping us to get back on track and to just keep more money to ourselves. What's your name, please? Can we just please meet you? Your name, what you do, how long you've been in the UK, and just introduce yourself, please.
So hi guys, my name is Shola and I run a YouTube channel called Nursing Meets Finance. And the aim of the channel is to support nurses in bridging the gap between nursing and finance. And why have I decided to do that? I used to work in the finance industry. I used to work in the accounting industry, and now I'm a nurse. Again, the reason why I started the channel was to help people to bridge that gap. And in terms of what we're going to talk about today, taxation, I think it's very important that people actually make sure they're paying the right tax and they're taking home as much as they should.
How long have you been in the UK, or were you born here? How did you just end up being a nurse? Like,
So I've lived in the UK for over 15 years. Prior to living in the UK, I lived in a small island called Papua New Guinea. I was there because my dad works for United Nations and we tend to move around. So I lived in Papua New Guinea, came into the UK, did my master's in accounting and finance, worked in the finance industry for a little bit. However, while I was studying, I found that the job that really worked for me was working as an healthcare assistant on the bank. And the bank basically allows me to work as at when I want to. So I did like the flexibility, and then I kind of find myself falling in love with nursing and healthcare. And also that's why I did mental health nursing, because it allowed me to sort of do a lot of things. I would say when I was working on the ward, I actually didn't feel like I was working, because I was working with young people. I was taking them out, I was doing things with them. And that's what I really enjoy. I really like to be very active.
right, that's very interesting. So what aspect of nursing, or what do you actually do as a nurse right now?
That's a really good question. So when I went into university, all my colleagues at uni will say to you, Shola always says he's not going to be doing bedside nursing for a long time. So what I did was I was looking for an opportunity for me to merge my nursing degree and my finance degree. And so what I thought was, who pays for care? Who buys care for the local community? The people that do that are called the CCG, the Clinical Commissioning Group, or now they're called the ICB, Integrated Care Board. So what I decided to do was got some experience on the ward, and then I went ahead and I started working with the ICB or with the CCG. And my role is to plan and buy and organize care for the local community. So I work as a CHC assessor, a continuing healthcare assessor. And what I do is I look at people's needs and I look to see if they meet the threshold of continuing healthcare. And if they do, then what we do is we fund the care, we pay for the care, we plan, buy, and organize the care for that individual. Again, everybody that live in a local area, as soon as you register to a GP surgery, then you're the responsibility of the local authority, of the CCG. So everybody that is around the local area, for example, Northamptonshire, Bedfordshire, they will be known to the CCG, who commissions the care in terms of GP and all of that. So that's what I do. So I really was looking for how to merge my nursing degree and my finance degree.
Wow, that's interesting. So that's why you're actually the right person for this topic, to talk money. And money is very important. Because
Very.
someone like me, I was like in a very tight corner. I started NHS in January, and I told you last week when we first spoke, I have been on emergency task code until last month. So it's been really crazy. Things we don't know. You see, we need people to talk more about money. I know in our community, money is like a taboo. People don't want to talk about it. But the more we talk about it, the more we know. So it doesn't matter how long you've been in the UK, you may be on the wrong tax code. And that's why we've brought this topic to you today. So please, can you please, Mr. Can I call you Shola?
Sure.
Can you please tell us what is UK tax and what is it all about? Why are we paying tax and just UK tax code in general? Because coming from where we came from, originally from Nigeria, I know we pay tax, but it's not as serious as it is in the UK. Like, it's not serious at all.
Okay, so in the UK tax system, every time you work, when you're employed, you have to pay what they call income tax. And that income tax is a deduction from your wages to a Majesty Revenue and Custom, HMRC. There are very, very few countries that don't pay tax. Places like Dubai, some of the Arab countries, but 90% of countries, I would say a lot of countries, they pay tax because obviously that is how the economy runs. And in the UK, income tax, which is what we would predominantly be interested in, is what we deducted from our wages and paid to our Majesty Revenue and Customs. And at the minute, income tax is either 20% or 40%, depending on how much you earn.
How do we know what tax code we should be on? And how do we know when not to, when we should pay 20% or when we should pay 40%? How do we check it from our salary, or how can we know? How can we know?
Okay, that's a really good question. But the first thing that I will let you know is to understand what they call the tax year. Okay, the tax year run from April to March. That's one tax year. April 2020 to March 2021. Okay, the reason why that is important is that every tax year, sometimes things change. What the tax code change, tax rates changes. So first of all, you need to know about tax year. Okay. Then second of all, you need to know what they call personal allowance, because our tax code is shaped from what they call personal allowance. And personal allowance basically means how much can I earn without paying any tax? Okay. So they might say the first 12,570 that you earn is tax-free. Okay. So how is our tax code derived? They remove the last zero and they replace it with an L. So you find that people have a tax code of 1257L. Remember I said 12,000, the first 12,570 that you earn is tax-free. They remove the zero and they replace it with an L. So you've got 1257L.
Oh.
Yeah. Personal allowance is 12,570. Remove the zero, replace it with an L, and that's generally the basic person's tax code.
Okay.
But there's more to know. There's more that we can talk about now. Now that you know how the basic tax code is calculated, then you need to be asking yourself about your profession. I'm a nurse. For me to be a nurse, I need to be registered to a professional organization such as the Nursing and Midwifery Council.
Yes.
That is an allowable deduction, which means that you should not be paying tax on that amount. Okay? Because I work as a nurse, I need to be registered with Royal College of Nursing, RCN, or I need to be registered with a union like Unison, Unite. Also, the reason why you're registered with those organizations is because you're working as a nurse. You should not be paying tax on that amount of money that you pay for that year. Moving on, you're also entitled to what they call uniform tax rebate or professional subscription tax rebate, because those things that you're doing are because you're doing your job as a nurse. So again, it's your responsibility to inform Her Majesty Revenue and Customs to say, I'm a nurse, I've been working as a nurse for 5 years, I've been working as a nurse for 1 year, I pay £100 to nurses standards. I pay £120 to NMC. I pay this amount of money to the Royal College of Nursing. And what they will do is they will give you a tax rebate. They will give you some money back because they will give you, if you're 20% taxpayer, then you get 20% of how much you pay.
Okay.
So 120, 20%, 12, 24. 24 pound is what you get, okay, for just NMC. So 20%. If you're 40% taxpayer, then you get 40%.
Oh.
Right? So those are some of the things that you need to be aware of. You need to understand what the tax year is. You need to understand what the personal allowance is. The reason why it's important to understand what the tax year is that every year things change. When they release the budget, you've got a man in a red suitcase reading out the budget. All the accountants are sitting down and they're watching because they're saying, what has changed? What is changing? Is tax rates changing? Is the threshold changing for 20% tax? Is the threshold changing for the 40% tax? Those are the things that they're interested in. So those changes are reflective of the tax year. Okay, so it's always important to always keep up to date with those. Accounting is not something that you can sit on. Things constantly change.
Wow, that's really interesting. We're supposed to have made this video maybe last year because what you've said is actually true. Since I joined the NHS, I'm always complaining. I'm like, why is my salary so low? Why am I losing money? I'm losing over £600 from leaving a care home to the NHS. And I was complaining every day. So last month, my band 2, she's like, Gloria, everybody that I complain to, they're all band 5, and they're like, don't worry, Gloria, every year you get tax increase because you go to the next band. And I was like, okay, but I kept money. And then last month, my band 2 said, Gloria, bring your salary, bring your pay slip if you don't mind. Let me check, because you're always complaining. And then I showed her, she's like, Gloria, you're on emergency tax code. That means I didn't have any, tax allowance.
Yeah.
So they were deducting 20% from all my entire income. And my agency shift that I do, they were taking 40%.
Okay.
I was like, wow. So I phoned them and they said, yes, I'm on the wrong tax code and I was going to see it in my next salary. So I received a 300 and something pound check. And then my last salary, I received £700 extra as a refund. So, because I didn't know I was on the wrong task.
Let me break that down for you a little bit better. So when you start a job, they will give you a starter form. Okay. One of those forms will say, is this your only job? Can you give us your P60? Sorry, can you give us your P45?
Yes.
Your leavers form. Can you give us this form? That form is very important because that form will shape how your taxes derived are. So some people will say, yes, this is my second job. If you say, yes, this is my second job, automatically, they will put you on basic rate, which is emergency, which people call emergency, so BR, which means that you lose your personal allowance because you're using that personal allowance in another job. Remember that that's 12,570 can be split. You can split it between two jobs or you can take it in one job. Okay. So if you've taken it in one job and you go to another job and you don't complete the form properly and you're taking it in that job again, then you will owe HMRC.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, you will owe HMRC. So that starter form that they give you is very, very important because it allows them to know what tax to put you on. But if you don't fill it properly or you actually don't get one, then there could be difficulties. And when they say I'm on emergency tax or I'm on basic rate tax, it means that you lose your personal allowance. And that's very significant, 12,570, which you don't pay tax on. So, that's what happened to you there. And I think that from the conversations that you've had with HMRC, it appears that they've made some rectification. They might change your tax code. Again, there are people that have two jobs. People with two jobs, if they're not careful, they might also owe HMRC, and I'll tell you why. For example, anybody that earns 50,270 pounds is paying 20% tax. Okay, it's easier to see and to account for when you're doing one job. Okay, when you're doing two jobs, this one is not talking to this one. All right, it's only when they add it together that they now know that, oh, Gloria has earned £60,000 this year.
You've earned more.
Exactly. So that's why anything above that 50270, then you need to pay 40% on it. Some people have think that if they earn over 50,000 or whatever, that they're paying 40% on everything. No, you're paying 40% on whatever you earn above that threshold. Okay, so that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's why you can see that sometimes if the communication is not right, it's only when now they've got what they call real-time information, which means that the HMRC is trying to see information in real time. So things are getting a bit better. But again, sometimes the best time to have a look is at the end of the tax year when everything is put together. That's when they can actually see within this tax year how much is Gloria earned. Oh, she's earned over 50,000. Then maybe she might supposed to pay 40% on this, which she hasn't paid. So that's where you start to find yourself in HMRC and getting a letter from them.
And would they, I think if you're old, because I've seen few people that are old, would they deduct it from your next salary or you have to send them money back?
No, you can just tell them that they should need to adjust your current tax code to reflect how much you owe.
Okay, right.
So they'll prorata it over, for example, if you call them in March, so if you call them in May, you've already done April, May. Remember tax year?
Yes.
April, May, you've done 2 months. So they will prorata it over the leftover 10 months. So they will just deduct that money, in batches. It's always good to do it that way anyway, because you don't feel it that much.
And you've made mention about, is it claiming? What do you call it?
Claiming tax rebates or tax relief.
So I just did my revalidation last week and I got my feedback back yesterday night. And on that, in the email, NMC said, do you know you can claim? And I'm like, I've never claimed for any of this thing. One is, number one, I didn't know. And another fear I have again is someone like me, I'm on a visa. And when it comes to public fund, claiming money in the UK, if you're on a visa, so many of us, we are so scared. We don't want to, in fact, even free food in my children's school, I make sure I ask, I'm like, are you sure it's not public fund? Because I don't want trouble. How does it affect our visa, our indefinite leave to remain? Is it counted as public fund? Will it affect us? Or we should just leave the money and just mind our business?
Okay, the most important thing is to understand what it means when they say no recourse to public fund. Anybody that doesn't have anybody who's on a working visa or whatever, before you get your indefinite, you have no recourse to public fund. Public fund is basically public housing, working tax credit, all of those things that somebody that maybe is disadvantaged is getting to support them. That's what they're saying. You remember that you're coming to this country, say, I'm coming to work, I'm going to contribute to the economy. What they're making sure that you're contributing and not taking what you shouldn't be taking at this point. So things like tax rebate, tax relief, they're not public funds. Okay, they're basically things that you should not be paying for out of your pocket. And that's why the HMRC is, if you own a business and you're paying to buy a computer for your business, that computer, they would not be taking tax on it because it would be an expenditure that would be fully deductible. And you won't be paying that 20% tax on it. So because that's what they're doing, they're just giving you that 20% tax back. That's what they basically, so that's not public fund.
Okay.
So nobody should be scared of that. They should go ahead and, HMRC, NMC, the Royal College of Nursing are sending you letters to say, do you know you can claim this?
Yeah,
and 80% of nurses are not.
It's true. I received letter even for uniform, said for uniform, from transport to work.
Uniform, tight, and all of that. It's all on the HMRC website, and people should not be scared to claim for those things. It's really important that everybody sort of, again, we're going through hard times. We're going through a recession. Things are more expensive. So it's important that people claim for those reliefs and those rebates.
We've actually covered a lot. So what can you advise us, some of us who has more than one job? How does it affect our tax? Do you advise us to, because sometimes we end up working and we still get taxed.
Yeah.
How does extra shifts, doing more than one job, how does it affect us? And what is your advice, like to save more money and get more money back?
My first advice is that you should try your best not to go to the 40% threshold.
Okay.
That's my first advice. However, if you go to the 40% threshold, there are things that you can do to reduce your taxable income. Okay? Things like pension, increasing your pension contribution. Things like making use of what they call salary sacrifice. For example, they might say, oh, in this NHS organization, we have an opportunity for you to be able to get a car, to get a bike from work, and that will be deducted from your pay. That deduction is before your taxable income. So, for example, that if that process is going to cost you 5,000, if you're 5,000 above the 20% threshold, then you can bring your taxable income down by engaging in something like that. Pension, salary sacrifice, those are very good ways of reducing your taxable income.
Okay.
Okay. Because they remove that money before they say this is how much you pay tax on. Okay. So those are some of the things. Again, another thing that I would say is that make sure that if you're doing two jobs, okay, you're earning over 12,570 in one, and you're earning more in the other one, make sure that one of them is BR and one of them is maybe 1257L. However, 1257L is actually not a good tax code for a nurse, because what you're telling me there is that you have not claimed for your rebates. Because if you claim for your rebates, your personal allowance, your tax-free allowance will be higher, because exactly, because they now know what you do, and they now know that every year you have to pay this amount of money. So they increase your personal allowance. So you might find yourself having 1.3 something or 1.4 something just to accommodate for those things that they are now aware of. So if you're a nurse, you've got 1257L, then you need to be doing something. You need to be letting it. You just call them. Call them or go to the RCN website. They've got a form that you can complete. You send to HMRC, and they backdate it to 4 years. So the previous 4 years, you get a check for. The current year, your tax code is changed to reflect those payments.
That sounds good. After this video, I'm going to go. I'm going to the website. Oh, that's really interesting. Wow, I'll
I've
yeah.
got a video on my channel that talks about tax code, tax rebates, and also claiming those and the form with Royal College of Nursing. Even if you don't want to fill a form, just call them. Just make sure that when you call them, you tell them that can I have a check for the previous 4 years? Obviously, depending on how long you've been paying that fee and how much you're paying here.
Yeah. All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Yes, just before we go, I will just add a little bit that in case you do not know your tax code, if you check your pay slip, yeah,
Yeah.
on your pay slip, you should see your tax code there. And what I've done in the past few, like when I've checked, is I just went on Google and then I searched what tax code means. So then I
Mhm.
saw if it is S, that's for Scotland because I'm in Scotland. And
Yeah.
then I saw the 12,000, blah, blah, blah. It will not tell you, okay, that is relief, or it will tell you. So just go to Google, you'll see the breakdown of what each alphabet means. And because
Yeah.
I never even knew it was 12,000, I didn't even knew that was what it was. So
Yeah.
yes, please just go and check and go and call HMRC. And if they give you money, if you don't need it, send it to us.
Gloria will have half, I will have my own half, and then we'll be good to go. Yes.
Please check out his channel. He talks about nursing meet finance. I first saw him on TikTok and I watched even his video before I even met him or anything. I watched his video on revalidation, on money. He's so vast, like he knows what he's talking about. We have to include all this money advice into nursing. We can't just be working aimlessly for, just for somebody to be taking the money. Please go to his channel. That is his channel name. And I'm going to be leaving the link to his YouTube channel as well. Tell him you're from Gloria and let us know once you've gotten your money back. Just please, the only thing we want from you is just to go to his channel and subscribe and follow him. Follow his advice because he knows what he's doing. And he's into so many things. He's not a bedside nurse. He can advise you on even career change, career advancement, not limiting yourself. Like, he knows a lot. He's got so many stuff. Thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate, and I've learned, like, personally, I've learned a lot. I hope I'll see you again.
Of
We're going to
course.
head to his channel to record his own video. So please also go to his channel and watch all his videos. Drop comment, tell him you're from Gloria, and that would be really appreciated. Any other last word for us, please?
My last word is that, guys, we're going through a tough time. We're going through a recession, and this is the most important time. It's important that we make our money go further. And how do we do that? Is by ensuring that we're claiming the right rebates, we're paying the right tax, and also we're making the right cost savings, and we're making the right money saving. So it's very important at this current time. So, guys, thank you very much, and thanks, Gloria, for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Please remember to like and subscribe, and please click on the notification bell for more videos, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.
Bye, guys. Bye. Thank you, guys. Thank you.